Minister for Education, Ministers, Deputy Ministers of State, the Member of Parliament for Akuapem South, Members of Parliament, District Chief Executive for Akuapem South, the President of Ashesi University, members of faculty, Vice Chancellors of sister universities, Brekusuhine and Nananum, members of the Diplomatic Corps, students and alumni, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to join you this morning at this impressive campus of Ashesi University for an important milestone in the lives of our young people. Hearty congratulations, class of 2018. I'm always excited to be amongst young Ghanaians, young Africans, to tap into their energies, their hopes, and their aspirations. The smiles and anxieties of young people tell you all you need to know about the future of the country and the continent, a future I care so much about. We're gathered here today primarily to celebrate the end of your preparation for the start of your independent lives. This preparation has taken place for the past 4 years under the care and protection of Ashesi University in this scenic atmosphere of Brekusu's awesome landscape. Nana Brekusu, thank you for that. You're graduating today as well, at a special moment in the life of this university, when it officially comes of age and receives its own presidential charter. Henceforth, Ashesi would award its own certificates and degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, identity matters. Who you are matters. Where you come from matters. An Ashesi degree should stand for something distinctive, and it should be different from other degrees. The surroundings in which you are being taught and the way you have been taught should help to present the products of this institution as distinguishable from those of other universities. Each one of you that carries an Ashesi degree represents the remarkable Ashesi story that needs to be told over and over again to ensure that you are never tempted to stray from what the founder and the president, Patrick Awia, has created here. I'm sure that sometimes when the going was rough, he must have been sorely tempted to cut corners, for after all, others may have been doing so all around him. But he kept his eyes firmly on his stated mission, and he succeeded in establishing a world-class university. It thus came as no surprise when he was named as the 6th winner of the Wise Prize for Education by its founder, Her Royal Highness Sheikh Musa bin Nasser of Qatar, a fellow member of the group of eminent advocates of the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals. I was on an official visit to Doha, the capital of Qatar, when this honor was done to him and to our country. I remember a Qatari, on being introduced to me, say, quote, "You must be the president of Patrick Awia's country." Unquote. That Qatari clearly had his priorities right. We have seen other institutions where standards have been compromised in the rush to increase numbers, and where new courses are added without the provision of adequate facilities and faculty. Excuse me. I'm particularly delighted with the setting up of the engineering school here in Ashesi. It provided the proof, if some was still necessary, that indeed Ashesi was set up to meet the needs of Ghana and of the continent. Within the short period of its existence, the university made a name for itself in the fields of business administration and computer science. The university could have chosen to stick to these and other areas that did not require very expensive inputs. But you remain true to your mission. And so today, Ashesi has an engineering school, and a first-class one at that. One of the most remarkable traits of Ashesi has been that it decided right from the beginning that its work was not done the day degrees were awarded to its students. It took and retained a keen interest in their fate outside the institution. Ashesi was interested in knowing if their graduates have jobs, how long it took them to find jobs, and how they fared once they got jobs. It is not surprising, therefore, that employers also took notice, and Ashesi graduates have been doing well in the job market. Perhaps the most visible proof of the Ashesi story is this extraordinary campus in which we are gathered. It is beautiful, it is serene, and the environment tells you that this is a suitable place for teaching and learning. Patrick Ewia could have chosen to stay in the temporary buildings he started with in Laboni. They're certainly not much worse than the places where some other universities are operating from. But Ashesi does not cut corners, does not settle for the mediocre, and insists on long-term good quality. All students that bear the Ashesi name and that carry its degree must shoulder the full weight of the investments made by Patrick Ewia and do justice to the Ashesi story in all they do. I'm glad that his efforts are being recognized and praised around the world, and I'm proud to share in his glory as a Ghanaian. I urge you, the Ashesi class of 2018, always to keep in mind that you will be judged by the high standards set by your university. I started this conversation saying that identity was important. It helps to give you self-confidence. Identity is not only what you say you are, but also what image is evoked by this identity that you claim. An Ashesi graduate is expected to be well-equipped and well-versed in whatever area of study he or she has offered. A graduate will be relied upon not to cut corners and not to be afraid of hard work. And the graduate will be expected to have a firm moral compass. These attributes should apply to all of us in our various areas of work and enterprise. I maintain that it should be the greatest honor to be able to say, I am a Ghanaian, and we should have no difficulty in identifying a Ghanaian, not only as a legal entity, but also through his or her behavior. I had hoped that the exercise to provide all citizens with a national identity card would receive the enthusiastic support of all of us as the project finally gets off the ground after years of willful stagnation and neglect. Unfortunately, we seem to have become embroiled once again in another of those full-scale manufactured stalls deliberately engineered to slow down progress in everything we try to do. If we as a people had been conducting our affairs properly throughout the years, there should not be any argument in determining who is a Ghanaian. But we have not. There is a point of view being argued vociferously that the possession of a voter's ID card should qualify one to be issued a national identity card, even though that view was never canvassed during the parliamentary consideration of this matter. I do not think I say anything contentious if I state here that it is well known that many non-Ghanaians are in possession of voters' cards that they obtain by offering NHIS cards as proof of identity. I believe it is also generally accepted that the terms of our national health insurance scheme make it attractive to our neighbors, and many have signed on to benefit from the free health care provided under the scheme. This is why the Supreme Court handed out a ruling that the NHIS card should not be used as a form of identification to register for a voter's ID card. It should not be in anybody's interest that we bastardize the identity of a Ghanaian. It should not be in the long-term interest of anybody that we enlist as Ghanaians people whose loyalty to our nation is limited to access to our free healthcare system. I certainly have no interest and no intention to prevent genuine citizens from being issued with identity cards. But my oath of office is unequivocal that I owe it to the nation to uphold the law and protect our institutions from being undermined. I do not think that there are more credible basic documentary requirements for establishing nationality or citizenship than a birth certificate or a passport. An appropriate, acceptable mechanism has been provided in the law to verify the claims of those who have neither. What then are we to make of the outrage being orchestrated by some high-ranking leaders of the opposition and some members of the minority in Parliament when all the evidence points to their enthusiastic support of the National Identity Register Amendment Bill when it came before them in the House? I believe it is worth recalling here some of their contributions. The ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Select Committee in Parliament, i.e. the designated leader of the minority on that committee, the Honorable Inusa Hussaini, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central and former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources under the Mahama government, noted during the debate on the floor that, and I quote, "There is no controversy in the amendments. It seeks to expand the field of information that would be required and bring the information up to date with modern trends," unquote. He was supported in this by the NDC MP for Banda, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, who said, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, from the day of the birth of Jesus Christ, registration and census were done. Therefore, it is very pathetic that as a country, we do not know who a Ghanaian is. Mr. Speaker, if there's something as a country that Ghanaians should come together and support, I believe this bill is one of them," unquote. The NDC MP for Elembele, the Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, the former Minister for Petroleum under the Mahama government, in his contribution further stated, and I quote, "The amendment bill is long overdue and very critical for our country. The issue of who a Ghanaian is very critical in this country, especially because of the issues we face," unquote. These are samples of the sentiments that allowed the House to accept unanimously, i.e. without dissent, the report of the committee, which stated among others, and I quote, "The committee also noted that the bill seeks to do away with the use of voters' identity cards, driver's license, and baptismal certificates as proof of citizenship. It, however, maintains the use of birth certificates and passports. It further introduces resident permits and other documents evidencing acquired citizenship. Officials of the NIA informed the committee that the changes are consistent with the decision of the Supreme Court in Abu Ramadan versus the Attorney General, delivered in May 2016, unquote. I would ask you to indulge me for dwelling somewhat on this issue, but in the light of current pronouncements in the country, I think it germane to use the occasion to draw the attention of the Ghanaian people to these matters. There are 4 pages of information that the NI officials require from us to help them determine if we qualify to get a card. There is a legal definition of who is a Ghanaian, and I pray that we abandon giving politics a bad name and support this exercise to proceed rapidly to a successful end. The language of denationalization or threats of civil war are, to say the least, extremely unfortunate. They can be fittingly described as base forms of self-serving demagoguery. I am confident that the good sense of the Ghanaian people and the vigilance of the law enforcement agencies will together be sufficient to defeat any ill-conceived, destructive adventure for achieving narrow parochial partisan ends. The lust for power should not cloud one's sense of judgment. To call yourself a Ghanaian means you must be a responsible citizen. Class of 2018, as you set out into the world, I hope you will carry your identities as an Ashesi man or woman and as a Ghanaian with pride. You may be engaged in building an enduring company, engaging a social cause, or developing a breakthrough technology that lifts Africa up. Whatever you do, remember the importance of doing it for love of country. It has been rewarding for all of us to see Ashesi grow into such a world-class institution that is confident in its identity. I'm happy it has fallen on me to have the honor to present to the president of Ashesi University, this exemplary Ghanaian, Patrick Ewia, a charter from the President of the Republic that qualifies Ashesi University to be a fully independent university that can now award its own degrees. Congratulations to the class of 2018 for being the first group to receive your certificates from a fully fledged university under the authority granted by the Presidential Charter. Government is taking steps to accelerate the grant of presidential charters to other private universities because of their contribution to education and learning in the country. Cabinet has recently approved the imminent establishment of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, which will henceforth be the regulator of all tertiary institutions in the country. The commission is to provide regulations which will enable all universities, public and private alike, to be treated fairly and equally, and thereby expedite the treatment of deserving applications for presidential charters by private universities, which should not take more than 4 years to acquire. The 6-year wait of Ashesi would be a thing of the past. On this joyous occasion, I'm happy to announce to you the government is actively in the market to seek funds for the construction of the Domi Brekusu Kisasi Road. which is being used by many of you to reach this campus. Hopefully, you'll hear some good news very soon. I congratulate all members of the Ashesi University community. I trust sincerely that the receipt of this charter will inspire Ashesi University to continue to operate with the same discipline, commitment, and love of country that we have observed over the years. I wish you continued excellence in the years to come. God bless the class of 2018. And God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
That's right.